You wake up at 2 a.m. to a strange noise downstairs. Instead of walking into the dark to investigate, you reach for your phone, open a security app, and check the cameras. We do this because we trust the lens. We assume a camera is a perfectly objective witness, and if the screen shows an empty hallway, we convince ourselves that the threat simply doesn't exist. A retail worker in a small American town relied on that same logic. Working the night shift alone, he glanced at the store's CCTV monitor and noticed a man standing perfectly still right outside the glass, his face obscured by the low resolution. The worker opened the door to greet a potential customer, but the parking lot was empty. He returned to the desk and checked the monitor again. The man was still standing in the same spot, now slowly moving toward the lens. In the final frame of the recording, the figure was standing inside the store. This sequence presents a specific paradox. Usually, we expect a security monitor to act as a filter that keeps the unknown at a distance. In this case, the camera was the only thing capable of seeing the figure at all, right up until the moment it was too late. To understand this shared unseen space, consider the police report from a family who called 911 about a home intruder. Officers swept every room and found an empty house. Yet as soon as the sun went down, heavy footsteps echoed from the upstairs rooms. A newly installed camera captured a dense, bodiless shadow descending the stairs. As the shape approached the lens, the feed abruptly snapped to black. The family abandoned the property the next morning. A similar isolation occurs in commercial spaces. Consider a night guard in a locked office building, whose entire connection to the building's reality is restricted to the glowing squares on his desk. Over several weeks, he noticed a specific anomaly. Every night, at exactly 2:15 a.m., an automatic door on the second floor swung open. He checked the feeds. There was no wind, no mechanical failure, and no visible person on screen. These occurrences generate a distinct type of modern dread. They suggest we share our physical space with entities that bypass human optics completely, yet operate flawlessly on a digital frequency. The danger escalates when this digital barrier fails. A woman living alone received an unknown text, "I am inside." She searched everywhere, finding nothing. Then she looked into a mirror. The reflection showed a man standing directly behind her. She whipped around to face an empty room, but when she turned back to the glass, he was still there, watching her. This crossover can bleed entirely into our physical world. At 3 a.m., a taxi driver picked up a silent young woman and dropped her off at an old residential address. He watched her walk up the path and enter the house. The next afternoon, the driver received a call from that address. An elderly man asked to speak with the person who dropped his daughter off. When the driver confirmed the fare, the man explained that his daughter had passed away 5 years ago. This physical crossover is what pushed the office guard out of his chair. Tired of the blind spots on the CCTV, he decided to investigate the second floor in person. He stood in the quiet hallway and waited for 2:15 a.m. The cameras recorded an empty hallway, but the guard's own audio recorder caught the sound of heavy footsteps walking directly toward him. It also captured his final scream. By sunrise, the guard was missing. He left behind a single note on his desk: "He is here." When an anomaly bypasses both our physical senses and our surveillance, the technology acts as a silent witness to events it can no longer prevent. These stories highlight a specific tension in our daily lives. We are documenting our surroundings more than any previous generation, yet these digital records often serve only to archive the moments when our control disappears. Old urban legends were easier to dismiss as tricks of the mind, or shadows in a dark corner. These accounts are different. They are backed by high-definition video files that don't change or fade. There is a significant psychological gap between having a front-row recorded seat to an anomaly and actually managing to survive it. You are currently sitting in front of a glowing piece of glass. The next time you hear a noise, and rely on a screen for comfort, remember the screen might be looking back at you.